We're here. We're dancing a little bit to the music. Hey, everyone. Thanks for coming to the Gang Awards post show. I hope you know my name by now. It's Cody Matthew Johnson. I am the Game Audio Network Guild Operations Manager. Joined here with my fabulous co-host, Rachel Robison.
That is me. Thanks, Cody. So we hope you enjoyed the award show. I think the biggest thing every year for me is just the talent that's crammed into, one award show. I think it's just super impressive. It's also super inspiring for someone like me that is still, working my way into game audio in that industry. So,
Very inspiring. And, we're going to be interviewing some of tonight's winners. Maybe taking some audience questions if you throw them in the chat fast enough. And first up, if I'm not reading, sorry, we're having fun, is going to be none other than Brian Tyler. So we're going to hang out until he shows up at some point. He's going to drop into the chat and we're going to have a chat. We're going to have a good time. Rachel, what else is what else is up in your world? How from your point of view?
How was what?
The show from your point of view.
Again, I'm just super impressed. That's the big thing for me. How about you?
It was nice to see everyone responding very positively to all the changes. For those who don't know, this process starts like 9 months ago. And Rachel, myself, the officers of the Game Audio Network Guild, our entire awesome team who, if you were in the pre-show, you got to see some of their faces in that fun clip. That's Alex Ferrante, that's Nicole Yasmin, that's Lucas Faring. We put a lot of time and effort into this, and we made it near the end. And it's cool to see everyone responding very positively to all the changes, all the updates, and all the consideration. All that's feedback from you. So it was awesome to see everyone responding positively to that. And it's great to see the camaraderie and friendship. And here we are. Brian
Hello.
Hey, Cody.
Joins the party.
Hey, Rachel.
Hello.
Thanks. What a treat. Honestly, it's such an honor for you to be here, not only for us, but also for all of our viewers. You're great.
It's great. No, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Well, you're my favorite. Don't tell the others. Just want to let you know that. Just a couple questions for you. So we ran that behind the scenes video for Game for Peace during the pre-show, but for anyone that might have missed that, weren't able to join us earlier, just would you be able to talk a little bit about the experience of scoring and conducting an orchestra during a pandemic?
Yeah, it was a really wild time getting into that mode because, of course, we didn't even know if we could do it. But I was in Los Angeles and the orchestra was in Vienna, and they were opened up already in Vienna. So I actually went to the 20th Century Fox scoring stage, and it was empty. And I conduct there all the time. Lots of movies I've done there, Avengers and all sorts of things. So I conducted, and they filmed me and then beamed it onto a big screen for the orchestra to see out in Vienna. And we did it across the pond. So it was a very unique, probably, who knows if that'll ever happen again kind of experience, but it was amazing.
Wow, that's definitely very impressive. Like, you get creative, in the moment.
Yeah, you got to. yeah, exactly.
Wow.
It was fun.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, on top of that, like what are your thoughts on just the importance of having world-renowned composers like yourself to continue to score game titles just from around the globe? And,
I think it's going to happen more and more as composers of all stripes grow up gaming. So I'm kind of in the film composer era that, I grew up with Halo. I grew up with, all the way back, like, I've been doing it since I was a kid. And so to me, it was a natural thing that I wanted to do, almost like in the sense of, wow, okay, I can score these movies and that's great. And it's a static thing. But this is something that evolves and is different every time someone plays the game. And plus, for me, I always love being able to play the game kind of ahead of time and beting. I get to beta the game and get to see it before everyone else does. So just as a fan, it's amazing. So I think that's going to continue and get more and more as time goes, which is great.
That's amazing. And, I'm a big fan of, some of your or other game scores as well. And
thanks.
it's been cool to see games globalize. And so
Yeah.
Who would have imagined, a talent like yourself scoring, maybe non-Western games even 5 years ago?
Yeah.
I don't know if you've thought about that, but
yeah, it's interesting because it has happened a few times now, but it's really, I think, also something that's changed just since the advent of the internet is that music has become globalized. And my kind of as that's happened, I can see just from statistically where my fan base has grown, where now is just as strong in Asia as it is in North America. I mean, there's no statistical difference. I could do the same size of a concert here or there, and all around. And I love that's the case. India too. I mean, everywhere. It's like I'm finding that because of that, and because of the global community that gaming is, and that you can play anyone from anywhere in the world if you want to hop on and do it. I think it goes along with the creative team, and so I was so proud to be a part of that creative team that really was 99%. I was probably even more so. Like I was probably less than 1%. Coming from North America myself, but absolutely loved it. It was a total joy.
Amazing. Well, we can't wait to see what comes from you next.
Thank you
for jumping on and
Absolutely.
out with us for a little bit.
Absolutely. Well, congrats on the show. It's fantastic.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank
All
you
right.
again on your award, and thank you again for coming on the show.
Of course, absolutely. Take care, everybody.
Thank you.
See ya.
No one knows how Zoom works? Well, that happened actually in my life.
I know.
How you feeling about that, Rachel? That was exciting.
That was the highlight, absolutely, for me.
You know what's
We
gonna
still have
highlight when Darren and Ashley come on the show in right now. And I think everything.
Hello.
I gotta check in. Thank you, Darren and Ashley. You guys are awesome. The performance you did for the show was so good, and man,
Thank
Darren,
you very much.
Voice. I'm just over here trying to like harmonize with you.
Just gotta get that third part. We need a third part.
Just call me.
Did. Now it's you, Cody.
I got
I guess this way.
well, thank you for coming on. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Me too.
Pleasure to be here.
Good. Well, just for people that are watching, just the two of you could just introduce yourselves, let us know what you worked on, and just, your highlight of the projects that you worked on.
Yeah, Ashley, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, I'm Ashley Barrett, and I'm a vocalist for Supergiant Games. I've worked on all of the games, including Hades, our most recent game. And my favorite part of the project, I think that was the second question, probably recording In the Blood in London at Abbey Road Studios was pretty epic right before all of this went down in the pandemic. So special memory.
Amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to agree that was one of the highlights of this project, and also my entire life. Getting to record original music at Abbey Road was pretty incredible. And I'm the audio director for Supergiant Games. I worked on Hades, Pyre, Transistor, and Bastion, all four of our games, and I compose the music and do the sound design and voice a couple of characters in Hades. And so yeah, it's an incredible honor to have received some awards tonight for Hades. It really is pretty mind-blowing given the incredible field of talent and the amazing sounding games that came out this last year. It's really unbelievable.
Amazing. I would love to learn more, maybe for those audio folks out there who didn't get a chance to play Hades yet, like myself. And so maybe, give some context about, the song In the Blood. It's a very beautiful song. And we were able to hear kind of like the full arrangement in one of the introduction pieces. So I'd love to hear maybe some context about what that song means and, how it functions in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in the game, the context of the game, In the Blood is sort of the end credits music. And I don't want to go into too much spoilery detail here, but it combines some themes that I've set up throughout the game for a couple of different characters into sort of one thing to sort of mirror the action of the game and what's happening in the story. And yes, so it's it's a song that's about fate and family and the inevitability of certain things, and how important the people that care about you are in your life. Essentially, it's difficult to describe what a song is about. Otherwise, why did you write it? But yes, that's sort of the best I could do, I think, about that.
Ashley, what does that song mean to you before we wrap up?
I think, yeah, well, I too don't want to give away spoilers, but I think that it reminds me of like family, and I don't know, I think of it as like it's in the blood, it's in like your family and what you're doing. So yeah, and it also is a big theme of the game Blood itself. So
Yes.
yeah. So it just reminds me of my first time playing the game, if that helps.
Okay, all right. It's mysterious, but it'll leave us with that, and maybe I'll go buy a Switch this weekend. So thank you both for coming on the show. Congratulations on all of the success, and the performance was awesome, and you both rule, and I owe you a dinner or something if we ever get to see each other again, because it was very nice of you to do that, and it's awesome to have you here on the post show. So
Yeah,
thank
it's our
you.
pleasure.
Thanks so much.
I hope we can all talk soon.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we all just kind of hang out.
I'm gonna click leave room now. I'm gonna do that.
Have to yeet yourself out. I'm not sure. I just stand in front of the camera, I just do my thing. Okay, looks like we have. Oh, this one's very cool. This is Rob Crackle from Naughty Dog. So Rob will drop here, and there he is.
Hello.
Hey, Rob.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you again, Cody.
It's good. It's always great. Thanks for coming on the post show, and congrats on.
I'm actually on the show, dude. I'm talking right now. It's my son. It's perfect.
Hey.
It's great.
We're live. Very good. Very good.
And by the way, how did this blanket get over here?
Well, we've got a couple questions for you. So
Sure.
Just to start off, though, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself, letting us know the project you worked on, and your highlight of working on that project.
Sure. I'm Rob Crackle. I'm the audio director at Naughty Dog. Worked on The Last of Us Part 2. I've been there for the last 10 years of my career. Got to work on a ton of amazing projects with groups of amazing people on every one of them. I think the highlight of working on The Last of Us Part 2 was actually finishing the thing, because COVID happened right as we were trying to finish, and it just threw everything up in the air. And it's a miracle that the team, like, shout out to the IT team at Naughty Dog for magically getting things to work, like, to allow us to finish that thing, because without them, I don't know that we would have.
That's amazing. You swept the awards tonight. Some of the biggest awards out there. Near and dear to my heart is the Audio Accessibility Award, and that's something I'm very passionate about. And to hear the committee, I worked closely with them, and to hear disabled players talk about The Last of Us is so amazing. And so I'd love if you could take a chance and maybe talk about how that works internally, and how you go about thinking about that for a game.
Sure. I mean, audio accessibility was a brand new thing for us. I mean, on Uncharted 4, we really tried to make accessibility a big focus for the studio. And on The Last of Us Part 2, we got like a mandate studio-wide to think of as many things as possible to increase accessibility, to make it playable by as many players as possible. And as the audio director, audio lead at the time, I was like, we already have too much work. We can't do it. But then I met our accessibility consultants. I met Brandon Cole in particular, and the passion that those folks have, and the way they speak about games and enjoying them, like, was extremely inspiring, and it completely changed my mind. I'm happy that I was completely wrong in my thinking. And they changed a lot of people's minds at the studio, and going through that process, involving those folks from the ground level and repeatedly bringing them in to get feedback was of the utmost importance, because as able-bodied people, like we can assume what people might want that have various disabilities, but we are almost never correct. And going to the source and getting the information from those folks is the only way to do it. And they were a hugely crucial part of the equation. And it was amazing to see kind of the fruits of the labor. Like Sightless Combat, who's one of the presenters tonight, I watched his stream him play through the whole game. It's just like incredible to watch a non-sighted player be able to beat the game. There's nothing better than that. I mean, it kind of makes it all worth it in the end.
Dad.
Amazing. Well, thank
Sounds like it.
congratulations across the board on all the success for your game, and the audio in that game is absolutely amazing. Thank you for coming on the post show, and take care, my friend. I can't wait to hear what comes next.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Take care.
Thank you.
Jumping over to the chat, see what people are doing. Hanging out. Rob, do I need to kick you out of here? Are you lingering? Are you? No, he's out.
He's out.
Okay. Next up, we have Gordy Hab from Star Wars Squadrons. Music of. Oh, is he here? Is he in? Are you receiving me?
I'm receiving you. Can you hear me?
We can. Thank you for coming on the show, Gordy. I feel like we're having deja vu. Maybe this happened last year.
Might have.
But yes, congratulations and thanks for coming on. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, Gordy, I think we all know who you are, but just a little overview of the game that you worked on and your, highlights of that project. Definitely would love to know that.
Yeah, sure. So Star Wars Squadrons is a exciting shooter game by EA and Motive as a developing company, and I had the great fortune of writing the music for it.
Excellent. And I remember in one of your acceptance speech video for Music of the Year, you discussed scoring this game, or at least recording it during a pandemic. And I feel we've heard some perspectives, but we'd love to hear your perspective about getting something like that, which is such a live, visceral kind of recording experience, over the finish line.
Yeah, it was really tricky because we had recorded about 70% of the score with a full orchestra, but the last 30% was slated to be recorded last April. So at the last minute, we had to make some decisions, and we decided to record one player at a time in a studio with a separate entrance for that individual player, cleaned the room in between each player, next player in. And we did that for, I think it was like 20 days in a row, every instrument in the orchestra, one at a time, the entire remainder of the score, and then pieced it back together like a puzzle and tried to make it match and blend sonically with the rest of the live orchestra score. It was quite challenging, but kind of a fun challenge in a way. And, it just sort of opened up creative options for us, to sort of overcome the pandemic.
Wow. Amazing.
Very impressive.
It's very impressive.
Thanks.
I wonder, and maybe you have some insight on this too. How does that work in a mix? How does that work? The excitement of the room is not there. I'm curious. Don't want to eat up your time, but.
Oh, no. It's just a great question that I wish I could personally answer, but I have this masterful mixer that I work with, Steve Kaplan, and he took on that task, and I think he did a pretty amazing job, all things considered, matching the sonic sound of the live orchestra and the individual one at a time players and putting it all together. He did a really great job with that.
Amazing. Rachel, do you have one a follow up? Sorry, my computer's getting a little funky over here.
Well, last question for you. Do you have any advice for aspiring composers?
Yeah, my advice to composers is to just get out there and do it. If don't talk about it, write some music, find ways to meet. Now with technology, you can meet people working in the game industry, reach out to people and meet them, because it's a people business, and it's a very small community as well. So if you just find a few people that within the community, suddenly you'll be a member. It's and then you just one at a time, work on indie games, meet indie game directors and developers, and try to start from that way and work your way up. and stay true to yourself. You know, whatever your musical vision is, stay true to that, and you know, that will drive you forward, I think.
Showing up is the hardest part, but it's also the most
Yeah.
important.
Love that advice. Thank you.
Of course.
Thanks for coming on the post show, Gordy. It's good to see your face. I feel like the last time I went anywhere was maybe a party at your house, but
Maybe right, yeah.
So it's good to see you. Thanks for coming on, and congratulations again. Well deserved.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Great job with hosting. It was wonderful.
Oh,
Great
Thank
stop.
you.
I mean, maybe it was pretty good, you know. So okay, thank you. Take care, friend, and I hope we talk soon. All right. Great fella. Next up, this is a fan fave. We love him. We know him. Mr. John Robert.
I knew it.
In the
hello
flesh, over
Hey.
Zoom. Hey, John.
Hi, how are you?
We're good. You couldn't be better. How are you?
That's true. I'm fine. No major disasters here, and I am alive and well and in the suburbs of Chicago. So what more could you ask for?
Beats me. How are you feeling about your win tonight?
I am blown away. Okay, so that was wow. Oh god dang it. This year has been just amazing. There's been so much amazing music written, so much amazing sound design and voice acting and everything else written in such exciting circumstances. I did not think that my little thing that I did in my basement would stand up to that, but I'm flabbergasted. That's a good term, and stunned and incredibly honored. Yeah, I was probably somewhat incoherent in the chat when we found out that I won. So, geez, thank you all so very much.
It's well deserved.
Of course. Definitely is.
I have a question for you. You know, these sort of kind of card games, trading card games in a digital format. How do you go about writing music that feels appropriate to energize and inspire the player, but doesn't get exhausting in that specific format?
It's tricky. I mean, there are a couple ways you can do it. I mean, obviously you can just write a ton of music, so it's just always different. In our we had very strict requirements. It had to run on a whole bunch of different systems. We built our own pseudo middleware within Unity, so that we could do some clever stuff with interactive music. So we have faction music, or music for your side and the other side, with different spins on things going on, and then it just switches your turn or their turn, and just some kind of clever things, fresh and interesting. Like from a compositional standpoint, it's just trying to hit the right emotional beats to keep people feeling like you're doing something cool, even though it's cool. You have to keep them in the mindset, and that's always the trick. It's I have an analogy that I've used a bunch, and that is like, you are trying to make the player feel the thing you want them to feel, even if you are it's like you're trying to coax them to do what you want them to do. You're trying to make them feel the emotions you want them to feel, and it's an always interesting, but I think we did a really good job with Mythgard, and the people seem to really like it, so
awesome. Well, thank you, John. It's always good to see your face, and congrats again on the win and such an awesome album of music. Thanks for coming on the post show. We'll talk soon. We'll chat it out.
Indeed. Good to see both of you. Thank you again, and thank you, gang, and thank you. Thank you. All right.
All right, John.
Bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
And here we are in that awkward Zoom limbo again. Yeah, okay, John's gone. It's hard to time these things. I'm just a mere host. A mere host. Hello, Anastasia.
Oh,
Hello.
And Dave.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going very well here. I hope it's going well for both of you.
It is. Yeah, we were just talking about getting our next round of shots.
Oh, send one to me. I don't even think I have a water around here anywhere.
No, the shots like the shots.
Oh,
But those two.
Actually,
Shots for everybody.
Rachel got we're on like a clock until she turns into a pumpkin. So
I got mine this morning.
Oh my goodness.
It's a race. Who's gonna
Good. I'll race you. Just kidding. Well, we did have a couple questions for each of you, but first, just for our viewers, a little introduction of both of you, what you do, your project.
Dave, you want to go first?
Sure. Yeah, so I'm Dave Shumway. For this project, I was the audio lead and the composer, and the project was called The Last Light. And it was the last project that we got to work on at Magic Leap, which, if you're familiar, is a head-mounted device similar to VR, except you can see through it. And we were part of the Sonic Arts team at Magic Leap, and we worked on this with about a dozen of us there.
I'm Anastasia Divana. I was the audio director at Magic Leap Studio, so audio director on this project. Now doing freelance work.
Excellent. Well, congratulations. We, every year, like we were saying in the show, it's always a treat to be able to have the VR committee meet and review titles. So we're so glad that we were able to honor your game and all of the awesome work in it. For those in game audio who maybe haven't worked in VR yet or are interested in working in VR, either or both of you, maybe you have some nuggets of advice or something cool that you utilized in The Last Light?
Nuggets of advice. It's really hard.
Yeah.
I'll start with that. It's very different. It's very different than doing traditional, linear media, traditional game audio. Like game audio does use kind of spatial audio in a way, right? It's typically not binauralized spatial audio. So we're still dealing with like distance attenuations and things like that. But in XR mediums, virtual augmented reality, the spatial aspect becomes a lot more important. So the attenuations and stuff like that have to be a lot more precise. So you just start working with that as another tool in your toolbox, like designing sound and space. And another thing is interactivity becomes a lot more important as well, because in games you typically have indirect interactions. So you press a button, something happens. In VR, AR, it's typically more direct interactions. So you grab something, like you swing the sword or you press the button with your hand. So the responsiveness of the sound, becomes a lot more tricky to achieve, to make it feel right.
Amazing. And one last question, I'll shoot this one over to Dave. As the composer or a composer, when you work in VR, do you ever think about spatializing your sound more in a VR environment, or are you keeping things stereo or surround? Is that fixed?
Yeah, one of the interesting things we did with this project was to set all of the different instruments of our score around the user. The cool thing about working on the Magic Leap is that the content is taking place in your space. So you're not being transported somewhere else, but the music and the sound and the voices should feel like they're coming from your room. And so similarly, spacing those instruments around and having them kind of follow as you move around your room and orient yourself to the content provided this cool feeling of, we use the word immersion, but bringing the content into your space versus transporting you somewhere else.
Amazing. That's very cool. That's the first I've heard someone doing that with music in a spatial environment. That's great. Well, thank you both for coming on the post show and hanging out, and congratulations on the award. The game is great. And I don't have a Magic Leap, but I love watching all the content I see online. It's very cool. Thank you both for coming out, and have a good, enjoy your second shot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you to G.A.N.G.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Kate.
Bye.
Okay, Rachel, I feel like I'm stealing questions from you. Feel free to, punch me out of the way,
You're doing great. You're doing great.
Punch Out, but instead of
No,
Mike
I
Tyson.
interviewed Brian Tyler today, so it's fine. It's all right.
Done. You're like, I keep making this joke because, well, that's fun. That's fun. Next up, this is, I didn't see this one. I got to watch my teleprompter more. Next up is Jeff Penny.
Hello.
We know this one. We know this.
We do.
What's up?
How are you? How you feeling about your win?
I don't believe it, but it's great.
It happened.
You're like, I need an audit. I need you to prove on paper that. Congrats, man. That's
notarized.
Thank you.
Yeah, huge congrats.
Although I tried really hard to say it in Japanese when I announced, I had to opt for just saying the name of it in a very ridiculous way.
But the name doesn't even fit in my little name thing on Zoom, so I have to deal with part of it.
That's so funny. Well, tell the audience, I mean, I see the chat going crazy, so maybe you don't even need an introduction, but just tell us about this cover you worked on. Like what made you pick that song? Like, what can you tell us?
Oh, it was for a Materia Collective album. It was a Bird and the Bear Banjo-Kazooie thing. I kind of actually decided I wanted to do J-Rock beforehand and picked the piece that would work best with what I was envisioning and just kind of went from there.
Excellent. And so when you are choosing, because I know that you do some VGM cover music a lot. And so when you're jumping into, picking a new piece or picking the genre or style, what's your thought process there? What's your creative decision and how do you arrive at J-pop for Banjo-Kazooie?
I mean, I could give a whole talk on this, but basically I just try and figure out what part of the original piece I like the best and then figure out how to translate whatever that is into a different style. Because I don't like to cover things that are just like the same style as what it already was, because that feels a little pointless for me personally, not in general. So I just try and figure out that essence that I can take into a totally different style, but keep the soul of the piece.
The soul.
That sounded very pretentious, but how I think.
That's how you win a Gang Award. What do you mean?
That's how you win.
Nailed it.
That's take notes, everyone. Jeff Penny, come on. So speaking, Rachel, were you about to ask a question? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, I was going to tell Jeff how excited I was for him to win, and just let him know that. But go ahead with your question.
I wanted to ask about the soul of the piece.
Ooh.
There is an original soul of all these pieces. So what is the original piece? What game is it from? Who wrote it? And what's the style of the original? Like, where did it start for you to take it to somewhere new?
Well, it's from Banjo-Kazooie, Spiral Mountain by Grant Kirkhope, who the original is amazing too. It's just totally different. And I honestly kind of just listened to the harmony to see what has something that I could like speed up to stupid J-Rock speeds and then have a rich harmonic progression that's not just like four, well, I guess it is 4 chords and parts, but you know what I mean? Just something that is a little different and kind of fit the tone I was going for emotionally, I guess.
Amazing. Well, you're great. I mean, we're all friends, but we love you. And
you rock.
You rock.
You're all great.
You're the best. The chat's going wild. I don't know if
it really is.
I
think it's mostly Jack.
No, it's multiple people, Jeff. Multiple people. So
hype that has happened.
Major hype.
Big hype energy. Jeff, thanks for coming on the post show.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Congrats.
Congrats again. Can't wait to see what you do next year. Maybe we're gonna do a twofer. What do you think?
Just have to get a sweep every year. It's my new goal in life.
Excellent. Well, thanks for coming on the show. And oh man, I dumped it. He got dumped before I could even wrap up. Thanks for coming on the show, Jeff.
He knows.
Okay. Well, I think we're gonna Josh. No, was production planned? That had been planned. That's not.
Just waiting in there with the door open.
I did not get a warning that I was coming in here. So. How's it going?
Just like you drop no warning. Sabrina set me up, and you're like coming in the door. That's way too perfect.
That's great. What's up?
We're hanging out. We're having a good time. You know, I have my feet hurt, and hot. It's been hot.
You're standing this whole time.
Well, kind of. Mostly anxiously pacing. But how are you? I haven't seen you in.
Good. Dude, I know. Good. Really good. Really good. How about yourself?
We're good. You know, I think the last.
Good. And really nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah.
Nice to meet you as well.
Dan, and I'm just excited to see Josh. I'm sorry.
Dude, it's been like, I don't know, a year and a half almost now.
Maybe.
Or no, Sabrina's birthday, I think it was.
It was Sabrina. It was at Gordy's house. I was just saying to Gordy, I was like, last time I saw you, that was the last thing I stepped out of my apartment for.
Yep, that's what Sabrina and I were talking about not too long ago.
What a wild sentence. Anyway, well,
I think Sabrina's gonna drop in too at some point. And I can hot dog all day and just hang out. But maybe we'll kick it off, you know? We'll just do it.
Yeah, we'll ask some questions probably. So for anyone in the audience though that isn't familiar with what your project was, just give us a little introduction, if you would.
So it's the VR game, The Walking Dead Saints and Sinners. And super fun, cool, freaky, scary game developed by you guys over at Squadrons Interactive.
Excellent. And man, I love the music you did for that game. It's really fun. It's really exciting, and it's a fun juxtaposition to some of the scarier moments that are in it too. So maybe you can just talk about a little bit of your specific contribution when it comes to the music and what that music was trying to accomplish in this, you know, in this cinematic universe of this game.
Sure. So our responsibility was to do all the diegetic stuff. Everything is like all the cool jazz stuff that kind of grounded it in like the whole history of jazz in New Orleans and everything. So it was cool. You kind of you're on the bus and you can listen to like the radio, and so it plays to the radio while you're in there, like picking your weapons and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool.
That's very cool. And where did you record? Who did you record with? Did you bring artists on board?
We recorded with well, believe it or not, Paul Lipson is a killer guitar player, and he did all that. Recorded a few different places with some great musicians. So it was really cool. One thing that was awesome was I got to work with great singers, and one of them was my brother, and my brother did all the male vocals on it, and Suzanne Waters was on there as well, and she's phenomenal, of course.
Amazing. Yeah, I love. Just ran an article in our magazine, and it's so fun to read. Lucas,
hey.
Chat. Lucas.
What's up?
Hello.
Lucas is on our awards team. He's a good guy as well. We love Lucas.
Lucas is clutch, man. That guy. You can't, yeah, Lucas worked on this too with us, so he was a recording engineer and came through in a pinch for me on some stuff. So great.
Yeah, Josh's music was awesome though.
Thank you, man.
Yep, I got ported over because I worked on the game with Josh. So here I am.
Good.
What did you do? Who are you? For people who don't know, I mean, if people have attended events, I think they're starting to know who you are.
Gradually. I'm Lucas. Am I still technically an associate awards event producer, or am I just event producer now?
Whatever title you want, you can have it.
Okie doke. I'm Lucas, and I'm an events producer for G.A.N.G. And I'm an engineer. I work a lot with different session players around town, mostly percussion. But I've worked with Josh and a number of other video game composers as an engineer, and I don't know, that's my gig. It's a lot of fun.
And
sounds like it.
I heard you have a Grammy.
What?
Now I have to say it. All right, so
you do?
I'm a Grammy award winning recording engineer. I won a Grammy in 2019 for Best New Age Album, and there you go.
Thanks.
Congrats, man. That's dope.
Yep.
Awesome.
Tina just dropped in the chat. It's a party.
Savina.
Yeah.
Woo, great show, everybody. And
You're
Yes.
great.
gosh, this album was so much fun. You know, when we were approached by Skydance to produce it, we knew that you were the right composer for this project and songwriter. You did such a phenomenal job. And it was so wonderful to team up with Decca Records too. They put out that double vinyl that was so cool.
Oh yeah, so awesome.
I would
Like
run
that
to my
vinyl,
unit
like
right
that.
now
Really so
if I didn't mean tripping over cables and just my setup. But it's
Don't hurt yourself, Cody.
it's a work. Sabina, I would love to hear more about, from your perspective, what it was like working with Josh and working on these songs and bringing in PL guitar to do a little jam.
Oh my gosh. Paul was amazing. He had so much fun. I mean, he studied jazz in school at the New England Conservatory of Music. So he had fun. And we pulled a few other people from Formosa who are very, very talented to record on this album. And then we actually worked with somebody from I think it was Stevie Wonder's band, right?
Yeah, Stevie Wonder's band. Yeah, trumpet player.
No, it was just small. It was fantastic. I can tell you this, normally, as you know, publishers and developers have notes for composers all the time. They just, every time we sent them one of Josh's cues, they're like, great, keep them coming. We love it. Approved, approved, approved. So it was just,
Composers love it.
it was really fun.
No.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm
And
grateful for that,
how
sure.
since Lucas is on the chat too, maybe you can talk a little bit about the recording process with Mr. Faring, our Grammy-winning engineer.
The recording process was awesome. We had drums in a separate live room, and then we had Paul on guitar, and we didn't want to do something where everybody recorded their parts totally separately. We wanted them to play as a band, so they all had charts. They all had a line of sight in the mixing room and the live room, and I just had headphones on, and we tracked everything. And I put Paul through the motions, doing like 13 different guitar solos, even though he nailed it the first time, but he was having a lot of fun, so we just kept having him track more guitar solos, and he was killing it.
You just and then play at the same time, and it sounds great.
Wow.
Exactly.
Yeah, all those guitar parts were just completely improvised right there, and they ended up on the album. So
amazing,
it was killer.
Amazing.
Impressive.
Yep.
Well,
and then we used a bunch of standard micro. Sorry. We mic'd the drum kit with 12 mics, so I don't think I'm going to list them here, but it was a full complement of mics on the drum kit.
We had Stephen Haas on drums. He was phenomenal.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, Steve Haas is amazing.
Well, it's great to hear. Sure. It's great to hear about this, and thank you, the three of you, for this is our biggest interview of the night. This is the most people. This set a record this year. Thanks for coming on the show. And Sabina,
thank you so much.
Josh,
thank you.
Luke, time. I mean,
I know. I see Cody everywhere.
Take care, everyone. We'll talk soon.
Right, okay, bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then we'll just do our, wait for everyone to get kicked off of Zoom dance. Josh, you should walk out of the door before you get.
I know. No, it's too late. He's gone.
It would be quality. Sabina, you can hang out. I mean, you don't. I mean, people this hype stand. It's a stand for Sabina.
I can't even see y'all right now. Something just happened to my screen. Am I still on?
You're still on, and that's
Hello.
We've got Austin Wintry with us now, so it's a party.
Hello.
Hey,
Austin.
Well edited.
You were gonna come in here guns blazing.
Well, hey, now we have an inside joke, so that's just the basis of a friendship. So
true. It's so true. It was one of those where I was like, I said, I thought my plan was like the perfect scheme, and then I realized, it's kind of the perfect scheme if I were to win like half these. But if it's anything less than that, then it becomes this very peculiar. So I was like, whatever. I am not above doing weird shit, and there's plenty of the people in this crowd that would probably expect nothing less. But I laughed. I literally laughed out loud when it like, not just that, but I was like, that wasn't what I recorded for that category. I'm almost certain that some like you basically used the best take, and I was like, well done. I'm in the hands of people who know what they're doing.
I can say that wasn't anything we had to do with, to be honest.
Well,
and I'll save it for later, and I'll snack on it for the next year.
No, it was very well done. I am again very impressed. I was saying to the folks in the last group that same with last year, where last year I went in with very low expectations because I was just so bummed to not be there in person that I was just like, meh. And then I found that I enjoyed the hell out of it because it was it was just between the Twitch chat and all of this and being able to hang with people, it actually was a reasonable approximation. And so good on you. I am very, very impressed.
Well, thank you. Glad you stuck around in the chat and everything.
Your music, my friend. You did a great job, and everyone loves your music, and everyone loves the score. Maybe, everyone knows you. We've been asking people to set up and say, "Hey, this is who I am," but I don't know if people don't know you. Should they even be in game audio?
Oh.
Well, yes, I would say defiantly the answer to that is yes, because anybody who should be in game audio. So that's an easy. What else? What other questions do you have?
All right. Well, I love your videos online. They're very informative, and it's very cool you make those. Maybe you could. There's the one that also was nominated this year for how to make a minute of music.
Very happy to cede ground. Well, that's actually not the right, because that suggests I had it. Very happy to applaud Jesse's deserved win on that. The Minecraft speech was a thing of beauty.
You're a thing of beauty. It's getting late. We've been on our feet.
I was going to say,
gang award for that?
I think you've been doing this too many hours. No, but thanks, man. Thanks. I have an assistant named Dallas who I must give credit to because I couldn't do any of those videos. I really love actually doing them, and I love when I hear from composers that they're useful to them. That's literally the only reason I try to make it so that if you're not a composer, it's hopefully followable and interesting. But I love this community, and I love approaching things in a kind of open source way. I'm not a fan of like the mysterious composer, mad scientist off in their cave. It's like, no. As a gamer, the games we play are made better when everybody kind of props each other up and finds ways to like share ideas or share tech or whatever, share sessions. I mean, I've even had those kinds of situations, and so it's that's the spirit of it. I'm glad someone's seeing them because they're a lot of work. But yeah, thank you.
Yes,
absolutely.
Well, how are you enjoying your night? Let's just flip the script on this.
Oh, that's my move. You
can't no.
Man, you can't do that. It's
it's done. It's done.
Parry for -5 damage, and spell reflect back to you.
Nope, ain't working.
Oh no.
I don't know. We're having
here. I'll let you give me a definitive answer on this.
Yeah.
So Mason was messaging me the whole time, giving his predictions, and he was basically nearly 100%. He predicted almost every category the whole night accurately. There was like, I think 2, maybe just 1, to the point that it was suspicious. So here's my hypothesis. The reason you're leaving Gang is you royally messed up and deleted all the votes and then called Mason and said, I need you to just be the person who chooses all the winners tonight. And then now I'm going to leave Gang and I can't ever show my face around here again.
Not
True
leaving.
or true?
Leaving Gang, just retiring, in my old age, and things.
Anytime someone says, I have to go, I want to reflect and go spend more time with my family, that means guilty.
Oh no.
I don't have to reflect with, but no, all of you are my family. So
Well, good. Then you spend more time with you.
not true. He's just very insightful. Just very.
It's actually
true.
Well,
yeah.
Austin, thanks for coming on the post show, man.
See ya.
Well, thank you. It's my pleasure. No, I'm for real. This is always my favorite week of the year, the GDC week, and this night is always kind of the apex of that because I really genuinely love this crowd. I love when we get new faces in. I love seeing friends of now 15 plus years. So just again, guys, good job on making it actually feel as close as possible to that, because it is something that is just palpably felt in the absence.
Well, it's a community effort, that goes out to everyone out there. That's not on us. That's on you.
You guys get to be the face of the thanks, but yeah, plenty of else. Anyway, good night.
Thanks, Austin.
Bye.
Always. Ooh, Austin's great. We have one more guest. Rachel,
oh,
who it is?
Anything's possible at this point. I'm not sure who it is.
Anything is possible. It is a one Mr. You love him, you know him. Everyone loves him. Everyone knows him. A one Mr. Wilbur Roget. He's dropping in the post show. He's our last guest. He was last year, co-host last year.
He was.
He said to my face, he's like, Cody, I would never want to host next to you again.
Great. So that's why I had to do it. Perfect. Thanks, Will. Hey, Will, what's up?
Great to see you on. Fantastic presentation this year. It went really, really well.
Thank you.
This is an interview about you. You can't start the interview complimenting us. You did this year.
Can I insult you? Can I talk about your hair? I don't know.
Congrats on your recognition award.
Yeah.
Really you're
very well deserved.
Starting to blow up about you. No one has a sour word in their mouth about you. You're probably the best person I know in competition with Rachel, for sure.
Oh my goodness.
Gosh, well, thank you very much. I mean, just a little background on how everything this year went down. We really wanted the awards show to be as inclusive as possible. And you saw so much work that Cody and Brian and the whole team at the Game Audio Network Guild was putting together to expand the awards, to make sure that there were categories for things that weren't really getting the attention that they had in previous years. And a few weeks before months really before the awards show, I had an email from Cody and Brian saying, we want you, because I've been an annoying squeaky wheel about this issue for literally since before I joined the board. Mm-hmm. They said, we want you to put together some sort of an international committee. We don't know what they'll do. We don't know who's going to be in it. We don't know anything. Figure it out and get back to us in like a week. So it was me and Mason Lieberman. We had a couple of Zoom calls and we sort of figured out, okay, well, first off, what should this group even do? What should our powers be? How are we going to put it together? And then once we had something of a plan, something resembling a plan, we went through all of our just friend groups and industry connections. And we just figured out, okay, well, let's have a group of 11, 9 other than us two. And let's make a group that's all around the world that has as little conflicts of interest as humanly possible and is inclusive as we can possibly get it. And once we did that, we reached out to everyone and figured out who was available and everything. And finally, it came together. We had a honestly beautiful Zoom meeting with everyone, literally across the world. It may have been the most gorgeous Zoom meeting ever because it was like every conceivable time zone all at once, coming together.
Wow.
And, everyone came in with a list of games that they thought either were maybe not incredibly popular, but still had very high audio achievement, or potentially games that were popular, but the people making the games aren't necessarily affiliated with the Game Audio Network Guild, and it's not as likely that they would get recognition within this community. So we wanted to make sure that they were represented. And so we whittled that all down and did our magic in the long Zoom meetings and then votes afterwards. And here we are. And I'm very proud and very happy that we were able to put this together.
You did an absolutely excellent job. I remember it's over the holiday. I was not in my home. I was all the way across the country just with my laptop, and like forced me to get on a Zoom call. You're like, this is how it's got to go down. I'm like, well, like, what if we did it this way? You're like, this is the only way and actually accomplishes the goal. And I think the whole awards team was like, wow, I think this committee gets it. And I think I've said this to you before, but hands down, anytime a request went out, everyone on your committee was so down and so ready to show up and to stand up for diversity it worked, and it worked so well. And man,
and I think that speaks to the passion and the hunger that a lot of these folks from all over the world have towards not only game audio, but towards the game audio community. Even though admittedly, as the Game Audio Network Guild we haven't necessarily done as good a job as we would have liked to in previous years of involving everywhere. And so that's something that I'm hoping we can continue to expand on in the future.
Absolutely. It takes some time to steer a beast, and I think this year, thanks to your help and the committee of people, the amazing committee of people, that clip that you all put together was really awesome. It turned out so good.
Was.
Just really impressive. And
my writing and directing debut, 1 minute.
Add it to
it counts.
Yeah, it counts. Sure. Yeah.
Excellent. It's good to see you. I miss you.
Yeah, man.
Just gonna get real for a second. Miss you a ton. I hope we can all be together soon. You're our last guest, so I don't know. Do you want to do the send off? Do you want to wrap up the post?
Sure. Tell me what to say.
Just to the camera and say, "Who is your daddy and what does he do?" No.
What?
Anyone who's out there who didn't understand what that was. Just give us a send off. Give us that old, Wilbur Roget co-host 2020 Gang Awards send off.
Well, all I have to say is huge congratulations to all of the winners and nominees. Thank you everyone for attending and watching the show. Again, thanks to Cody and Rachel for hosting, and to Brian and everyone kind of behind the scenes for running the Game Audio Network Guild. And yeah, stay safe out there. Please get vaccinated because we want to be in person as soon as possible.
Yes.
Absolutely. So that's it. We're done. I'm going to take the suit off. Thanks for coming to the 19th Annual Game Audio Network Guild Awards. Just like throw it very aggressively. And
is that the send off?
We'll see you all soon.
Thank you for attending the Gang Awards post-show. This wraps our post-show coverage and this year's celebration of the top talent and best work in the game audio industry. Join us next year at the Gang Awards.